hear intelligent people from both political parties or in the middle, conservatives and liberals, and they all seem to have different answers as to what is going wrong in the country. Some people say, well, let's let the government spend billions of dollars, and then other people say, no more federal spending. Let's give the tax rebates, and the other intelligent people say, no tax rebates, we've got to do this and do that. So everybody is confused. How do you see the thing? How are we going to get out of this?
Well, Johnny, I think that one of the things is that people keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem. Government's the problem.
Government's the problem.
A moment ago, you asked, about people and feeling not only confused, but low and down in America. First of all, the American people, if they would just take a little inventory and look around, you triple our troubles, and we're better off than any other people on Earth. And we've asked so much of government, and we've gotten in the habit over the last 40 years of thinking that government has the answers. There's very little that government can do as efficiently and as economically as the people can do themselves. And if government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks, we'd never miss them. 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 We'd never miss them.
We'd never miss them.
Aloha. Today, I wanted to share a few realizations that I've come to and perspectives that I have that would greatly affect the shift in human consciousness and shift the status quo from a powerless, have-not community of the masses into a more balanced sort of situation outside of this have and have-nots relationship that we have with like the governments and each other, nature, the sun, the moon, the stars, etc. But really kind of I know it's difficult to talk about all these things at once. This is kind of like why I section all of my videos off into various topics. But for this video, I wanted to narrow it down to some of the few ideas that are general the patterns, the trending pattern that I am addressing and speaking in pretty much every video, and add on some of the more refined realizations that I've come to that help me see that, well, this stuff needs to be acknowledged. This stuff needs to be expanded upon to the best of our abilities in order for anything to really heal or change or be affected in any kind of positive light. Because right now, the entire system is based upon giving your power away to the idea of the colonial universe, the colonial agenda, and the government system. The government system is not at all designed to do anything for the people. So before I get off on any tangents, I wanted to stick to the little slides that I put up, or the little realizations that I put up that are just my perspectives on how things would really start to shift. I mean, this stuff is already happening. People, like, I'm not saying this isn't happening already. I'm just sharing this from the perspective of, if we formally start to realize that this is happening and keep these things in our perspective. And some people haven't even acknowledged a lot of this stuff yet. But if we start to really see that this stuff is a thing, it's an actual thing that exists, and until this stuff gets acknowledged, we won't be really making any kind of empowered progress. Because right now, when you make any kind of progress in reference to politics or the government or anything like that, protests, all that stuff, this still exists in a box. You're asking slave masters to do something for you. And when you ask slave masters to do something for you, they're just going to make the chains even tighter, just in a different way. And it might seem like the chains aren't as tight as they were before you asked them to release those chains today. But 10 years from now and 20 years from now, you'll realize that those chains actually got tighter. This is what's happening with Trump. This is what happened with Obama. This is what happened with the so-called Civil Rights Act, the act that the government didn't even want to do. Remember that the government, the same government that we are underneath the boot of today, they fought to not have the Civil Rights Act. They were literally shooting water hoses and putting dogs on people when the Civil Rights Movement happened after Emmett Till and all the other stuff that was going on. People being lynched is ridiculous. But your government of today is the same government that was fighting those rights, those little funky ass little rights in the Civil Rights Act. They were fighting that to not happen. So, and then after it happened, then it's like, oh, well, we did a great thing. We're America. We're the most diverse. And it's like, it's the most ridiculous bully mentality and cheap magic that you could ever think of. So I don't want to get off track. I want to keep on here. So the first slide is the government, corporations, mainstream media, and NASA are profit and control based at the expense of nature and humanity. This system is designed to make a profit off of death and destruction. This is what the military industrial complex is. This is what the prison industrial complex is. This is what the mind control system, all of the CIA involvements in the media, the mainstream media, the so-called drug war, the so-called war on terror with your military. This is all to make a profit off the death and destruction of the people. Not only the people, all people who are in the have-nots perspective. For the haves, minority group of people. And this goes all the way back to a spiritual warfare. This is just this slide is mainly just a reference to the physical warfare that's happening, going into more of the intellectual warfare, the mind control warfare with the mainstream media, and then into literally the spiritual warfare with separating you from the sun and the moon and your realizations, with the relationship to nature, how you are a manifestation of nature. And there's a relationship, there's a meaning and a purpose that you have that has nothing to do with the fiat currency system, has nothing to do with the university system. It has nothing to do with the colonial structures that have been set up to maintain this dominance and control. And this is why the rainforests are being destroyed. This is why the oceans are being destroyed. This is why people are being poisoned. This is why the skies are being poisoned. This is why everything seems upside down and backwards, because that's the design of this parasitic program. This is a parasitic program, a parasitic consciousness that has downgraded the divine human consciousness, the divine human experience, down to an animalistic consciousness with the monkey mind evolution program. And then that goes into the parasitic. Once you're downgraded to an animalistic consciousness and you are of an intelligent source, an intelligent anchor, then from that point you can be manipulated by a parasite that will feed off of you, because you're completely out of balance, completely unaware of who and what you are. So yeah, that's one. The next slide I want to get into, because it's an extension of it, is the heliocentrism technology and the university system is designed to separate humanity from its spiritual or non-physical existence. The university system is inherently atheist. It makes its money off of the so-called astrophysics and quantum physics. Physics is the study of the half-ass study at best, the half-ass study of the physical reality at best. It maxes out at the physical reality. This is why it's pinned itself up against the religious community in order to beat the religious community up, or in order to make itself out to be the superhero, it had to beat the religious community up. So, and have you focus on that back and forth game as if that's the only game existing, never realizing that when you are adopting the university program, you are adopting the physical reality as the end-all be-all reality. So this is the foundation to the fear of death, the fear of life, living, the fear of challenging the system, the fear of expansion, the fear of consciousness. These are all limited vibrations because ultimately we don't even think they exist, because our thought patterns, our intellectual innovation is based upon the university system. Everything is based upon the university system. The government is all the law degrees that are in your government, your politicians and all that all comes from the foundation of the university system. The heliocentric model comes from the enforcement of the university system. This is why you have Neil deGrasse Tyson going on late night talk shows to like drop a mic and then act like that's the definition of gravity. That's not, it's ridiculous. It's like me going like this, like, oh, see, that's air. Air. Duh. Air. I mean, it doesn't make any, it's ridiculous. Those are supposed to be the biggest intellectuals of the universe. He's got the cosmos. This is why he has the cosmos. It's all a big mind control program, all of it. And ultimately, it's sad. It's really sad. It's like the cheapest magic you could ever imagine, to mind control people. And it's fucked up how far it has to go, to where people, like when people believe in the heliocentric model and they believe only in the physical reality, they get themselves locked into these lower vibrations. And I'm not saying they, like, I wasn't there, like I was there. This is how I'm able to speak of this stuff, because I'm speaking in reference to my own experience. I was as lost as you can be, having joined the military at 17 years old, gotten out, went to school, and then went back in the army. So, and then learning about all the conspiracies while I was in the army. Like, that shit was horrible to start to figure out 9/11, the stuff in 9/11, and then about 9/11, the conspiracy, so-called conspiracy stuff about 9/11, when you still have 2 years left on your contract in the army. Like, that was difficult. And I never really thought to do this, to mention this now for people who are in the military who might happen to watch these videos and who are in that same seat. I would just recommend, because I was in that place. I was literally like, I called the house. I was like, I'm going AWOL. I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to go to Mexico. And then the family was just like, no, it's cool. Just calm down. Just figure out what's going on. Do some more research. And that's exactly what I did. I said, well, since this is the beginning of my realizations of this reality, I have to see that this is brand new to me. I can't be caught up in my emotional body. I still have a responsibility. So this was just my choice. I'm not saying you have to do this or anything like that. I'm just saying this is what I did. So I just utilized those next 2 years to polish my own understanding of the reality and see how many other pieces of this puzzle were existing, and then take it from there. So it worked out for me. It was difficult. I ended up almost getting kicked out because I was refusing the H1N1 vaccine in the last 6 months. And it was a big problem when your name is in the red for however many months and you're of not a high ranking, but I was high enough to be like, what are you doing? Like, there's a problem. Like, so yeah. Because all your soldiers have to like also get that shot too. And yeah, I mean, I shared all this information with everybody too, which was also kind of like, while I was in, it's also kind of like, you're not supposed to be doing that. But I didn't give a shit because this is information, and my soldiers have kids, and those kids, the military actually forces those kids a lot of the times, and the wives and the husbands of the soldiers to get those shots. So by me holding that ground, it actually helped, I know, at least a couple of them at least think about it, and then not get their kids vaccinated, and not allow their spouses to get vaccinated. So that was mainly the point, because if I'm not going to do it, I don't want other people to do it. But, people got to do what they got to do. And other people have like 5 and 6, 7 years left in the army. So they're just going to do whatever they were going to do. But point being is that information needed to be known, because the military is using these soldiers as test subjects, just like the government uses the civilian population as a test subject. So they first test all these vaccines, all your chip in your debit card, that was all tested first in the military ID card. So they made you have it first in the military ID card, and they called it a CAT card before they installed it into the debit card system. We don't even know what those microchips are. You're carrying that shit around every day. If they can put however many 128 gigabyte SD cards, like in the little micro SD, what do you think they can fit in a little microchip like that? And then you carry it around in your body every day. So they test this stuff out on the soldiers. They get all the kinks out, and the technology is so far ahead than we think it is. So they don't really have to get many kinks out, because this has been going on for decades, and we don't even know what's really going on behind the scenes. But it starts with like the stuff that we can do, the stuff that we are responsible for looking up ourselves. Like it's up to us to figure out what's going on with these vaccines. It's up to us to figure out what's going on with transhumanism. It's up to us to figure out what's going on with the intentions of the university system. We have to figure out what's going on with the chemtrails. Obviously, it's blocking out the sun. So when we have a relationship as human beings to the sun, our skin literally gets energy. It changes. Our bodies change and get energy and vitamins from the sun. What type of being is blocking the sun rays from humanity? I don't give a shit what you think chemtrails are doing. From a basic observation of it, it's ridiculous, to say the least. I'm trying not to get off in my rant about it, but that's just a basic observation. When you have the majority of people on this earth plane are melanated people. Melanin receives energy from the sunlight. So if you have chemtrails blocking the sunlight, what's going on with that? What is that intention? There's all kinds of other intentions that are involved, but to keep a focus, what is going on there? Because we all know the have-nots program, the colonial agenda, also includes the so-called supremacy program, the eugenics program, the same way you have 80% of the Planned Parenthoods in the hood, in so-called minority neighborhoods. So that's obviously a program it's a mainstream or modern genocide. So all these things are existing today. Like, why? Why are these things happening today? Just ask yourself. So heliocentrism, technology being worshipped. Technology is worshipped today as the peak of human evolution. And it's worshipped as like what will dictate our future. And it's all based upon separating you from the spirit. It's all based on the physical reality, taking this generic form of engagement in your reality with robots and mechanisms and all that shit, and then saying, this is what humanity is all about. This is what... Yeah, so you understand the main point of that is heliocentrism, technology, and the university system separates humanity from the spiritual reality, because that's the true power of the people, to realize that you are of a spirit, you are of an infinite space that has no limitations, that has a purpose, that this physical reality has a meaning and a purpose that's equal to that infinite reality. The divine masculine and the divine feminine, the conscious and the subconscious reality, they are equal in their reasons for existing. So if you are focused on just the one side of it, then you demonize the other side, and you half-ass understand that one side that you are in a half-ass realization that exists, the physical reality. So the next slide, the next thing that I wanted to share is the New Age is a government-sponsored psychological operation designed to amplify the alien agenda among all kinds of other agendas, the transhumanism agenda, the simulation theory agenda, the NASA program, all these other agendas. Demonize the ancestors or the ancient peoples and distract humanity from the colonial agenda, the expansion, so-called innovation of humanity. So this program, the New Age community, the New Age perspective with all this secret space program stuff and this Ancient Aliens TV shows and this love and light agenda, this love and light community, everything is beautiful. Everything is one. We're all connected. We're all one. That is designed to... That mentality is designed to distract you from the understanding, understanding, and overstanding of the divinity of the differences. The diversity of humanity, the purpose of that, the same way that there's a purpose for having a man and a woman, a divine masculine and a divine feminine balance that's being muddled down with the gay agenda and this trans agenda. All this is just slowly but surely de-evolving humanity, because we think that we're of this monkey mind consciousness already. So you're just basically a monkey with a smartphone. So you have no spirit. You have nothing that is connecting you to a divine essence that is higher than the physical reality, that can hold you accountable from a spiritual perspective. So this new age is designed to act as a band-aid on society and completely just wash over the reality, as if everything is okay, everything is cool. We need to just start fresh from where we are right now. Don't get bogged down by the low vibrations of war and destruction. That's of the old world. We're about the new world now. Everything has to be new, and new this and new that. What's happening when you do that? You are demonizing the ancestors, because they still have to come from that space of, well, this is why Ancient Aliens exists, because it wants you to focus all your energy on spaceships and the star systems, and it just takes the alien, the perspectives of the ancestors' storylines and tells it from an alien heliocentric perspective, so you can believe in the larger colonial agenda. All of it is a psychological operation, because it keeps people from connecting with their ancestors, realizing the beauty of the diversity of the people, the various cultures that are here, the dances that we are, the history that is beyond this watered down. So just as much as Hollywood wants to water down and whitewash humanity, and all of your music gets turned into pop culture, all of your education system gets turned into just like the Columbian era, the Columbian information, the English and British history. The same thing is happening with the new age, like how that separates you from all of those different types of subjects. The new age separates you from your spiritual understanding of the depths of your spiritual understandings with the balances of the physical reality. See, the new age is dedicated towards worshiping the idea, the artificial non-physical reality, the artificial spirit, because the true spirit is in balance with the understanding, and overstanding of the physical reality. That's true alchemy. So the so-called old system is based upon death and destruction. So the next distraction is to install a new system based upon love and light and creation. It's just another form of imbalance. And since we've been locked into this destructive imbalance for centuries, people are overcompensating and basically creating another escape mechanism, like the little escape mechanisms that are within the New Age community. The New Age community itself is an escape mechanism for the individuals who consume themselves by that reality in order to break away from the so-called old system. And all of it is designed, just like the university system, to largely demonize your ancestors when they called the indigenous and aboriginal people primitive and savage, and also create the foundation for this artificial future timeline based upon aliens and technology, and basically this watered down version of the human experience, the watered down version of the earth plane. This is why people in the New Age community can't even at all acknowledge the heliocentric model. They still believe NASA and the government and everything. Everything is all one big ass storyline that they don't want to go into, because they've created another comfort zone. They created this bubble, and if you pop that bubble, then you're popping the bubble of people. That's who they are, and they can't let that go. So the government, just like the government manipulates the mainstream media, news, and all that other stuff. And I'm just using the word government as like just a label to explain the separation program. It's so compartmentalized and goes into the depths. I'm just using it to explain the control, the dominating group that is the middleman between the haves and the have-nots. So the have-nots are the ones that are pretty much unaware of the information that's around us and are being manipulated to continue to think that this reality is based upon the have-nots and the haves programming. So yeah, stuff like the alien agenda, ancient aliens, the secret space program, transhumanism agenda, simulation theory, the CERN programming, all of these programs that are being promoted by the system are inherently designed to give your power away to something else. So the New Age community is giving its power away to extraterrestrials and these alien civilizations that they'll come someday in the future and they'll save us. They'll come from the universe and give us this free energy technology and everything will be better. It's a prescription drug. It's numbing everybody down. It's creating a non-engaged mentality to just make people not look any further than what is delivered to them by social media. Social media is part of this too. All these so-called collectively conscious websites and all this other stuff, those are in on it too, because you got to understand that a lot of them are sponsored by the government. They're out there to make you to maintain a reality. My battery's dying, so I got to get through the rest of these real quick. So the next one is the melanated conscious community has to decompartmentalize itself, drop the heliocentric model, drop the colonial fiat currency and the university program, while standing united in the power of all of the Aboriginal people of all lands. So this, for people who are aware of the so-called Black conscious community, it's so compartmentalized based upon like different kinds of factions and perspectives on whatever, because it's so the melanated community that goes back centuries has been amplified. It's been engaged in deep parts of expanding human consciousness based upon different locations, different it is the story of humanity. The melanated people, the Aboriginal people, are humanity. The relationship with the sun and the moon and the earth and the stars and the oceans and everything, all this stuff has already been understood by the ancestors. And there's been different styles over different times. So we are now the manifestation of all of those. And now there's infighting with like who's the best, how we should be, and all this other shit. And the bigger picture gets lost in the sauce, where we don't even understand that there's a system that's designed to make us fight ourselves. There's a system that's designed to make us think that, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. And that's no, there's a relationship that humanity has with nature. There's a relationship that humanity has with the spirit, the physical and the non-physical, the conscious and the subconscious, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. There's a relationship there that is manifest into the actual bodies that we are. And if we don't come from the perspective of realizing that that is our true power, because the design of the system is to separate us from realizing that, to control us within the physical limitation program. If we don't come together and realize our organic, because it's easy for that conscious community to see, very aware of the supremacy program, the eugenics program, and all of these programs that are designed to beat the shit out of the melanated people. And there's people like Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr.Frances, Cress, Welsing. They go into the old schools that have been going into it for a long time. So if you don't know where I'm coming from on this, check those people out. They have a lot of information on this. But my focus is on the fact that a large part of the melanated conscious community still believes in the heliocentric model, which is the design sent down from the colonial agenda. So Brother Sanchez goes in on this a lot, and I wanted to reference it because it's a big part of this mind control program overall, and what keeps us from realizing our true connections and going beyond that. Because something like that will make our connections to the earth, to each other, closer. Another part of it is a lot of the so-called conscious communities are all about like, oh, well, you need to have black-owned businesses and all this other shit. We're not even addressing the fiat currency program as a whole. The legal name bullshit that exists, that is the literal physical, what's that? It's pretty much like the paper contract to your non-physical soul. This is what the legal name world is about. And that goes hand in hand with the fiat currency system. So if we're all still focusing on the black-owned businesses, we'll still be enslaved. Now, I understand that there are steps in everything, but if we're addressing this entire system, we need to address the entire system and stop getting hung up in this in-between shit. It's not half empowered. You need to fully empower yourself. And the only way you're going to fully empower yourself is if you fully understand the understanding, and overstanding of this system, the spiritual warfare, the psychological warfare, and the physical warfare. Not one or half or some, but all of them at the same time. Otherwise, we're just going to be sucking up these half-ass versions of change, like the Civil Rights Act and the first black president and all that shit. That's not actual change. It's bullshit. And that's the design of the psychological operation of the colonial universe and the colonial programming. So until the melanated people stand united in the understanding of the aboriginal peoples of all lands, not only Africa, not only this, not only here, we already traveled and did all this shit pre-Columbian era. Until we stand in that space, we're just going to be spinning wheels and talking shit. Ain't nothing going to change, because we inherently empower the system to continue to expand its programming around us, around our ignorance of who and what we are. The next slide is the melanin recessive peoples need to fully acknowledge the intentions of the colonial agenda and hold the governments accountable in returning the land back to the original people, healing the wounds of this inhumane genocidal empire. When I say melanin recessive, if you have trouble, if your emotional body is triggered, when I say that, that is your responsibility to understand what melanin is. Go into looking into Dr.Frances, Cress, Welsing, and look at how she explains the war on melanated peoples and how it exists, how it existed centuries ago, and how it exists today. That I'm not going to go into that any further. I use that terminology because there is a meaning, there is a purpose, there is something that is going on that is different between the melanated people and the melanated recessive peoples in relation to the sun and the people. There's a purpose there. We don't understand it. And largely, we don't even question the understanding. We don't even try to get into being aware of what that is, because it hurts our feelings, or it's like, whatever the fuck it is, it's in these low vibrations, it triggers the emotional body, and people start talking about, well, genocides, there's all kinds of genocides. There's a modern genocide today still going on right now. It's being carried out right now. The eugenics program, the slaying of people on the streets, the mind control program of making people kill themselves on the streets, the so-called black on black crime. Where does that come from? There's a design to make people hate themselves. Look into the black doll, white doll experiment. This is all adding up to the so-called black on black crime. The white on black crime is just an extension of that. That's just the boot to like make sure that it exists, and to keep that fear program of the government and all that other stuff alive. So with this slide, what I'm saying is that it is one of the biggest problems, like the last slide with the New Age agenda. The New Age is not recognizing that this modern genocide exists. It's not recognizing the ancestors. It's not recognizing all of this stuff that adds up to what's happening today. And if we don't heal those wounds, nothing's going to change. And if it does change, it'll still be, those wounds will fester and will come to bite us in the ass in the future. And this is what the New Age is all based upon. They just oh, nothing, everything is just okay, everything is just perfect, let's just move on. It's bullshit, and it's on purpose. It's the design of that program. And it's how I'm seeing is that there's a big energy when the melanated recessive people start to speak in reference to the Aboriginal people or the melanated people. There's something there that needs to happen. See, all these activists and all that shit, they're designed to make you focus on that program. Hollywood, politics, the political government, all that shit is designed to distract you. Late night talk shows and all that shit, they make you not look at these stories to the depth, and they keep you focused on these shallow storylines to where you ultimately have zero power. You have zero abilities to get outside of that control program. In fact, any of your engagement in that system will allow it to expand around you. It's still rolling. Yeah, it is. So because we already realize it. We realize it, the melanated people, we realize what's going on because we grew up in this shit. We still have the psychological programming that makes us fight ourselves, and still have the stuff that, like, I still got when I go out walking down the street and I got my hair out, like, that shit is seen as like a problem for people. It's aggressive, or it's whatever it is. That's the design. That's the mind control program of the Supremacy program. That's the side effects, the remnants of all this shit. That is a damn problem. And there's people who know this, or people who don't want to make eye contact. And there's a lot of undercover racism and undercover shit that's going on with people that are around you every day, and you won't ever know it because literally it's not being acknowledged. So until what I'm calling the melanin recessive people, and like I said, if you have problems with understanding what I'm referencing there, look into Dr. Phil Valentine, look into Dr.Frances Cress Welsing, look up Bobby Hemmett, look up all this information and find out for yourself. Just figure out because that's literally what this last slide represents. It's for people don't want to go into that storyline. Even in the so-called flat earth community, the flat earth community as the mainstream flat earth community is no different than the new age, only focused on the science and all that other shit, when the human storyline is the actual empowered space. You are aware of the mind control programming of the heliocentric model and where it originates from and that time frame and how that is affecting humanity as a whole, but you don't want to go into the human storyline and talk about what's happened to humanity, which is the large part of why you have people who are defending the heliocentric model, defending the globe today, because of that human mind control program that's existing today that stems back generations and centuries before now. So it's up to us to talk about the human storyline. It is our responsibility, not only melanated people, but the melanin recessive people, to find out their meaning and purpose. For us to find out our meaning and purpose from a human perspective outside of the colonial program, without the limitations of the fear of all that shit. Oh, well, they could be doing this. They might do this. That shit will never matter if we empower ourselves from the perspective of the organic reality of why we are here, what's really going on, the non-physical reality balanced with the physical reality. What is our meaning and our purpose? And two of the main big reasons, and along with all these other slides that I put up in this one video, two of the main big reasons is because the New Age community is thriving. It just keeps going. It's slowly slowing down because this shit is not making a return on its investment, which is an illusion. But that community keeps people in this, love and light bubble of everything is one, doesn't realize that it's inherently beating down the true humanity, the true storyline, the true power of who and what we are. And not only that, is that the melanin recessive people are also giving their power away to the government, because largely a lot of them don't want to lose their privilege. They don't want to lose that power. It doesn't matter. They can be the most politically active activists out there. They can be protesting every day, but a lot of them do not want to lose that privilege. This is where the expansion of the Trump program comes in. It's like, this is why there's so many people behind Trump, when like they were hiding off in the distance. But and now you can see it. They don't want to lose the status quo. That's the point. The status quo doesn't want to be changed subconsciously by people who are still vibrating in those low vibrations of fear and the emotional body getting caught up in all that, and really just ultimately afraid of what could be because of the programming of how we've been told, we've been projected to the entire world as melanated people are savages and all that other stuff. This is how far this goes back. So you worship your slave master. That's pretty much all I wanted to share with this. We need to heal these wounds of this inhumane genocidal empire. If you keep asking a genocidal empire to make progress and make change, they will make change based upon a genocidal empire. Those wounds will never be healed. And it's not their responsibility, because they're based upon, that system is based upon making a profit off of your demise, destruction, the separation from nature, and the separation from spirit overall, internally and externally, on the soul plane, the mind plane, and the body plane. This is chess. This ain't checkers. All this political shit, all this, even some of the so-called conscious community shit, that's checkers. This black-owned business, that's not taking your power back. Black-owned business shit, that is not taking your power back. Not the full extent of your power. On one level, you still exist in a slave program. If you're talking about taking your power back by creating a black-owned business, I'm not coming down on black-owned business. I'm coming from the perspective of the true potential of empowering yourself. And before it can happen externally, it first has to happen internally. We have to understand these programs. We have to understand and understand and overstand how these programs work to truly empower ourselves. And it's not only about the melanated people, like I said in this last slide. It is largely about the non-melanated people or the melanin recessive people to acknowledge this storyline, acknowledge the government and the system the way it's been and the way it is today. Until that acknowledgement to the depths happens, not much is going to change. So that's what I wanted to share with this video. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.